Let me to finish it, brother.
And we're live.
Man, how was the situation grabbing the whip? Was it smooth?
It was cool. It's cool.
That happened. That's all I needed to do.
Yeah,
That's
we got done what we need to get done. Um, let's just stop this shit.
what happened. Oh, fuck it. Here we are, man. That happened. That's all I needed to do.
Yeah.
That
Okay.
was me. That was me. That was me. That was me. I always. I'm usually our first viewer.
Welcome to the Reasonable Wrestling Podcast. I am your host, Chitty Bang, with my tag team partner, Chris, the Most High. Obviously, having the munchies, getting his grub on. Um, and we're here to talk about the week that was in professional wrestling. But before we get into that, definitely subscribe, hit the like button. Definitely be very much supported and appreciated. I would appreciate that. And I know Chris would too, right?
Yeah, man. Can y'all hear me? All right.
Yes, we can hear you. We can hear you. Check us out on RW Podcast One on Twitter, Real Wrestling Podcast on IIG, and everywhere else that every other media of socialness. Okay, but we're here to talk about the week that was in professional wrestling. And Chris, man, it has been a crazy year, hasn't it? We got a Stone Cold
It's
Steve
been crazy
Austin
as fuck.
return, huh?
I said it's been crazy as fuck.
We have Stone Cold returning this year. We had Cody wrestle with a whole torn pec through a Hell in a Cell match. We have Vince McMahon leaving the WWE, which is probably going to be the biggest story of the year, no matter what changes. But this might be the second biggest, and that is the implosion of AEW, backroom locker room. We used to call people called it all friends wrestling at one point, and now it's all melee wrestling. I mean, it's all shoot wrestling at this point. And you guys, I'm sure you guys have heard. Um,
No, let's keep the acronym correct. It's AEW, but it's all ego wrestling. So
all
much
ego wrestling, and then Ethan Page should be champion if you think about it. In that case, all ego wrestling. But yeah, that's what it feels like right now, and I'm sure we've all heard the news of the post show of All Out, the post media scrum, and we're here to talk about it. So here it is, oh fuck no. See, this is why I don't produce the show, but it's the post media scrum CM Punk had, and I know we got a lot to say on this, but before we get into all that, I just want to say I genuinely, and I'm going to be honest with you, I'm genuinely a fan of CM Punk. I'm genuinely a fan of CM Punk and his antics. I think it's entertaining. I think that when CM Punk has a microphone in front of him, whether it's shoot or whether it's work, this guy is one of the most proficient mic workers I've seen. And if you saw this post media scrum, you see that this is all shoot. This guy genuinely feels this way. And he went out of line and we all heard it. He buried a ton of wrestlers, mostly namely Colt Cabana, which stemmed from a Colt Cabana question, where then he went on to how the EVPs couldn't, run a target. He thinks that they've been spreading rumors about him and his attitude backstage and getting people fired or whatever, or moved to a different company. He's said that Hangman Page doesn't know shit, and he's in his ego and went to business for himself. And then later on, apparently there was a melee, a
But you
brawl
like that though?
backstage.
I mean, you like that shit. You like that shit.
Here's the thing about CM Punk. I'm not saying it's the way to handle things at all, and I want to know there's how do you move this thing so it's just one? He's on one side. This because this is different.
Shout out to my nigga Chidi running a production truck today.
Listen, I'm
You know what
trying,
saying?
man. But pretty much, you said, do I like this shit? Yes, I do personally, selfishly. I do like the fact that he kind of is petty, and he's himself. Like, do I think that it's the best course of way to go about things? Absolutely not. And we'll get into it. We'll get into it. But I appreciate when somebody just goes off and loses it, for entertainment purposes. Put it that way, gives us content. But selfishly, yeah, it was hella entertaining. How selfishly the things he said about the EVPs not being able to run a target, it cracked me up. The things he said about Cole Cabana, I thought was kind of mean. You don't got to tell that much information about your homeboy. But I do think that Cole Cabana is a sensitive topic for him. I'm not sure if he came to that press conference and was like, I'm going to talk about Cole Cabana. I think that he was asked a question and it's just set him off. Like it just set him off because he knows he was sued by the guy. It used to be one of his best friends. Now, granted, I do think it's very ironic. He brought up Vince McMahon and Cole Cabana being the guys who um, got the most money off of the CM Punk name, which may or may not be true. But there was a time when CM Punk was a guy fighting for Cole Cabana to be signed by WWE and not fired by WWE. And he has a whole promo about that. And now, he's one of his. He doesn't give a fuck about him. So I don't know what that says about such CM Punk as a man or about as his character or Cole Cabana, but I don't know these guys personally. All I do know is that when things get deep,
that's what that shows you everything you need to know about the guy. That shows everything you need to know about
I can't
the guy,
say that,
right?
man.
You want to say, hold on. How can you judge what did Martin Luther King say? You judge a man by the content of his character, correct? That's what white people love to throw out at us. The content of his character is what? I'm judging him off the content of his character. His content of his character is what? He's a pussy. That's the content of his character. Regardless if it's a soft subject or not. He waited 3 months to respond from Hangman Page. If you had an issue, you take care of it right then and there. He said the promo to your fucking face, nigga. He said it to your face. You wait 3 months to come respond? Cole Cabana, you said you ain't want to deal with this man for 10 years. Okay, whatever the fuck that is. It's 2023. Let's go 2013, 10 years. The math works out. Why are you still talking about him then? You were talking about workers' rights. One of the things that Adam Page said in the promo. What you doing with your niggas over there in AEW for workers' rights? You ain't said nothing about Swole. You spoke about Mercedes and Naomi from another company that you swear you hate. So your content of your character is that he's petty. That petty shit don't go nowhere when you're 40, nigga. And when you feel petty, that's the content of you.
No,
that's
you're right. I would say that a reason why I say I don't judge any of it because these are people. The Young Bucks, Colt Cabana, Hangman, Kenny Omega, all these people involved are people who I think that we kind of we now pick sides as wrestling fans. And I'm not going to pick a side here because I haven't sat down and talked to CM Punk about this or any other guys about this. All I do know is that, yes, he was pissed off about that promo. And do I think that he held on to it and was petty enough to bring it up when he came back after injury was kind of odd? Yeah, it was kind of odd. It kind of was stirring the pot. So but at the end of the day, do I think that CM Punk in his hearts of hearts is trying to stir shit up? No, I think that things have happened where he felt disrespected, and I do think he has an ego. Absolutely. I think that his ego gets the best of him a lot. I think his ego gets the best of him in a lot of ways in WWE and other places. No matter where he goes, he's had a problem with authority, period. And I do think that that's more of a him problem. And whatever things have happened in his past and his childhood and how he handles conflict. I don't know. I don't think it's the best course of action. Obviously, I'm not a therapist, but I do think that when he gets into a certain space, he is very, very venomous, and it kind of can taint the things around him. But I do think he also was he's a big part of the success of AEW this year, and I think that he's been a big part of them having, you know, certain like the house with Hangman Page. He went through a whole he went can you listen? Just listen. He went through a whole angle with Hangman Page. After that promo, won the championship, got injured, came back. But prior to that, I mean, one of the best angles of the year, I'll still stand on it, is him and MJF. Him and MJF probably still is rivalry of the year. Him, that, and Seth Rollins and Cody, I think, are head and not for me, head to head, shoulder to shoulder, could be two of the best feuds I've seen of this year, and that's not just lost for me. I think that we don't get that without CM Punk. The promos, and MJF is not as big as he is without that run. I do think that elevated him in a sense. So I definitely believe that CM Punk is an asset, but I do think that he can be his own worst enemy. He's like a gift and a curse to the business sometimes, and I'm not gonna take away his backstage influence to some people who are on his side, like FTR, or the people he has pulled aside and had conversations with on how to improve in the ring. I don't think that's just, oh yeah, whatever. CM Punk just wants to be selfish, and just because we don't know up until that promo with Hangman Page what CM Punk was like backstage with everybody else. It looks like he was like caught off left field with that. Like it looked like he genuinely was caught out of left field with that. So his workers' rights thing.
If niggas feel about how they feel about you, though, like that. Like,
not necessarily. No.
Oh, hold on. My thing is, if Punk is who he is right now, if Punk is who he is in the scrum, he's like that backstage, correct? That's your character. If a nigga got a problem with me, he can say something to me, and I'm pretty sure niggas addressed it.
Yeah, I'm not assuming that I can't, because you literally everything was fucking fine until Hangman Page went out there and said those words on a microphone to CM Punk. Even when he said it, I didn't take it as that deep, because I was a fan who doesn't. I'm looking like, it's all storyline to me, and it went great with the promo. It went great with the angle, defend AEW from you as a guy who's like a flag bearer of AEW. Hangman Page has been killing it as champion. I look at it as a fan. I didn't see much into it. Clearly, people called that going into business for yourself. But my problem with CM Punk is you have to be a leader at this point, and you are pretty much are now letting your ego take control. And when you do that, you become just like the people you're talking about. You can become hypocritical because you went into business for yourself in that press conference. You did, and no one needs to know any of that shit. No one needs to know any of that. You can literally handle these things with, I know somebody asked, but you gotta be have enough public relations by now to know that you don't gotta tell the media everything. And you did it for like 10
30
years,
minutes.
7 years, or 8 years, whatever.
No, he did that scrum for 30. That's why I was saying that. Your opinion on how you feel about Punk, and I'm saying I have my opinion on him as well. Mm-hmm. We're two different people with two different opinions. I'm gonna judge him what the fuck I saw. He went 30 minutes being a hypocritical pussy ass nigga because he was in his feelings about something that he could have addressed in the back. That media scrum for was the pay-per-view, the match that you just put on, and to promote the fucking company that you say you make $1 million draw for.
And the first question they asked him was Colt Cabana.
Are you promoting the company by vacating the title? Are you an asset to not being a champion to the company now? You're a fucking dick. That's what he is.
Listen, I'm not gonna say he's not. I'm not gonna say that. Honestly, I think that he would be disappointed in his own actions that things have ended up this way. He was. He shouldn't have done what he did. I'm not to say that it's clean, but I will also say that people are now like so anti CM Punk when we all were chanting CM Punk to come back. I know you weren't, but a lot of people were chanting him to come back. I know you. Don't worry, I got you. but there's a lot of fans who are just wishy-washy. The same people can't see him. Oh my God! Now I want to talk about how he's an asshole and all that. He's been the same nigga. CM Punk is not hiding from anybody. He's always been this guy. So if you liked him then, you should like him now, because literally this is the same guy who WWE gave him like a year-long reign and was still unhappy with his position on the card. So I don't know what was going to satisfy his ego. I don't know. So I do think there is some wounds there that he has to heal as far as his self-worth on how to manage conflict, and when you're not feeling like you're just due. But do I think that he caused this whole thing? No, I do think that there was talks backstage about CM Punk coming and getting paid, and people didn't fucking like it. I do think that people just didn't fucking like him coming, and I do think that
like MJF, like Cody, I mean, in that page promo, this goes back to what I'm saying. You can't say, okay, that's why I'm saying this. In football, because I don't really want to use a lot of basketball term because we speak on football. Locker room shit only get out by the people who want it to get out. So on both sides, I'm faulting both sides.
Yeah.
I'm not omitting blame from whatever CM Punk feels like he feels as shit's been put out for him. What I am saying is that CM Punk has not shed the skin of who his reputation precedes him very strongly. And he has not done enough work to shed that. That is, like you said, that's a him thing. So when we're judging the him thing, that's the him thing that we're judging off of, because no matter where he's been, Cheaty, like you said, he's been the hypocritical martyr that nobody gets behind. No matter where he goes, he tries to do it in ROH. He tries to do it in fucking WWE. He tries to go to UFC. He tries to do commentating. He comes back to AEW. The reason why people had the feelings that they had about CM Punk is because that nigga is what everything he thinks that he thinks he is everything that Bryan Danielson is. And with that, what I'm saying to that is Punk coming back to do exactly what he said he wanted to do, which was help elevate talent. He ain't elevate MJF. MJF elevated CM Punk to, I don't know how that nigga got the fucking world championship title match when MJF was the star of that feud. MJF was the superstar of that feud. MJF was the fuel to that. Now, CM Punk may have been the vehicle that was driving the feud.
But if that nigga just being in the ring with CM Punk and MJF, it's not like they got CM Punk and people weren't like, "Oh, I can't wait to see MJF and CM Punk in the ring." That's what people were saying for months prior to that interaction on, was it January 1st? I forget when. But that's what the conversation was. It's not for no reason.
And I agree with you. I agree with you. But I agree with you that. But what me and you disagreed on was that nigga did not come back and was not supposed to be fucking champion. Adam Hangman Page's story, defeating fucking Kenny Omega, coming back, all the shit about his issues, him fighting for his kids or his child that he was born, and being a flag. The feud of the year should have been Moxley and Hangman Page, the two pinnacles, no pun intended, of the MJF conversation of the pandemic era. The pandemic era was held together between the two top baby faces, which was Jon Moxley and Hangman Page. Now I get it. CM Punk was billed as the top baby face, but he was never positioned as the top baby face until I'm not going to say he positioned himself, but I will say that he positioned himself with the popularity of him. I can't disagree with that.
CM Punk steps into AEW, he's a top babyface. Period. After an 8-year-long hiatus or whatever the hell ever long, once he steps foot in that arena, he is the top babyface. I'm being completely honest with you.
Fair, but that should not be fair to the guys that's there. And I can understand why.
I get it. No, I get it, but it's just a reality. People have been chanting CM Punk in arenas that he hasn't been in for freaking almost 10 years. So, like,
I hear you.
It's
I
just
hear you that, but
where
then
the industry
Punk
is.
comes in to be Punk comes. My thing is this: Punk does not do anything for himself if he doesn't. If he listen, we talk about Cody, right? I talk about Cody. I was like, yo, you pigeonhole yourself by saying you should have never came out and said I'll never be AEW champion. Punk behind the scenes should have been like, yo, I'm here to do the job. But the job to CM Punk is be the fucking top guy. That's the only job for CM Punk.
That's why I love Hangman Page promo so much. Going back on it, he's like, being champion is those moments that nobody's seeing you. Like it's more than just, when that red light goes off, it's about what you do outside of when that everything when no one's looking. And I thought that was a good. That's why I was like, yo, Hangman got it. That was one of Hangman's most impressive moments for me. Like just because he's not been great on the mic, he's been all right. But that moment there, he's just talking his shit. So yeah, did it get under Punk's skin? I think it did. I think it's set him off in a way, and the fact that it burned him, because I think that it burned him even more that when he came back as champion and he got injured right away, and it's he was on the shelf and he's like, oh my god, like he has to now eat that, as champion, he wasn't able to hold it, because of his injury.
That's called karma. You know what I'm saying? That's karma to the kid. I'm cheating,
but he didn't do nothing prior to that. Like I don't know what the issue was.
You can't say. Hold on.
We don't know. We don't know.
Hold on. Why did you can't say Paige? So Paige has those feelings just out the fucking blue.
Listen. All I'm saying is that all I'm saying is I don't know what made Paige do that. I'll be honest. I don't think anybody who's talking on these podcasts, who's putting out tweets saying this, that, and the fourth, or what happened, no one has really known why Paige said that. What specifically Punk has done to make that happen. No one said that. There's rumors of him getting Colt Cabana fired. Like that's just a rumor. Like, and if I was CM Punk and rumors are floating around that I got somebody fired because we don't fuck with each other anymore, shit, I'll be pissed too, because I already got a shitty reputation in the back, and then you guys want to spread more rumors about me? Now fuck you. So I think that there's a way to go about it if you have those feelings. I think Punk has a reason to be upset, absolutely, but at the same time, this, like, up until that moment, Punk hasn't gone off. And mind you, if that promo wasn't that way, Punk might have lost to Hangman. I think that Punk after that promo was like, no, I'm not losing this thing. Like, no, I'm not jobbing to him. Like, I think that's his ego thing. I don't think that's doing business. I don't think that's right. But I do think that, what I like about where we're at, I know it sounds bad, but as a fan, I miss this. I do. I miss the controversy in wrestling, because that's always been a part of the business. It's always been like, yo, real heat backstage.
You can't miss the controversy if we can't talk about the real of it, man. The real of it is that you're not being real by saying Punk has a fucked up presentation. He has a fucked up reputation. And niggas is calling Adam Hangman Page before this promo the sweetest of sweethearts, my nigga. Like, the nigga came out for like in West Virginia, this nigga was like a god, because like it's like Mormons and then fucking Adam Page or some shit, dog. Like, the nigga is beloved.
No, listen, I love Hangman, and he's proven to me a lot over the past 2 years, and I'm a big fan of his as well. I'm not blaming Adam Hangman for going on the promo.
What about Moxley's promo? I'm sorry. What about Moxley's promo?
I thought Moxley's promo was great body, too.
Weak spirit, weak heart. That's real shit, nigga. That's real shit.
But here's the thing about wrestling: when the lines are blurred this much, I get excited, because we got so much to talk about. We got so much to watch. Everybody pulled up to AEW, even without the champion there, even with Kenny Omega and the Bucks being fine. Let's actually get into it. Kenny Omega, the Bucks, EVPs of AEW, are they handling this process the best as, executive vice presidents? Because apparently there are stories that after the media scrum, I mean, it seems to be confirmed at this point, everybody's saying it, there was a brawl. because obviously we watched AEW Dynamite, and they got the Trios Championship stripped off of Kenny Omega and the Young Bucks after All Out, the victory over the Dark Order, and also CM Punk was stripped of the AEW Championship because of a backstage brawl. Apparently, Matt Jackson got punched. Nick Jackson got a black eye from getting a chair thrown at him. Somebody got bit. This is crazy.
In the words of Booker T, in the words of fucking Booker T, nigga, I ain't holding you. I ain't trying to joke. Who the hell is Ace Steel?
He's like, I'm serious.
Bro, I'm so serious. I've been working in the business 35 years, bro. Who the fuck is Ace Steel, nigga?
I gotta say, I saw that clip and I was rolling, dog. Booker T, shout out to Booker T, forever the GOAT. Oh my God, man. I tell you, Booker T is a national treasure. We protect him at all costs, man. I love that podcast he does. I really do. I don't always agree with Booker T, but I always tune in because he always has interesting takes to me, and he comes from a very wise standpoint, and I thought that his his look on things was very interesting. He says that, he honestly says that he was, if CM Punk did that media scrum, yeah, we would have to fight because no one calls out saying that they're getting they're the house, like kind of saying that they're the reason for the house.
That's what I'm saying, bro. This is what I'm saying. Like,
I know.
No, you can't say hold on. You can't say I know and then defend that because you said is Nick Jackson and Kenny Omega handling it correctly. Listen, Nick Jackson and Kenny Omega can easily be like, dog, if it ain't me, we'll sign the checks on this motherfucker. That's ego. That's ego. Like
as EVPs, I get it. They're also talent and EVPs. But when it gets to this level, you can't pull up on somebody's locker room. You don't want to just pull up on somebody's locker room.
You can if CM Punk invites it, bro. He said if
CM Punk invites it and you're an EVP, you make a meeting with Tony Khan saying, listen, we got to handle this guy. Listen, this is not good for business. You got to think business-wise once you get to the media. Once it gets to that, you can't. This is not a backstage altercation that's like, hey, man, I got to talk to you. This was a public altercation that needs to be handled business-like. And as EVPs, right after a show, is it the best time after that? Maybe, maybe not. I don't think it's the best time, me personally. I don't think pulling up to somebody's locker room right after that is the best quiet time. I think you say Tony Khan right after you wait for the press conference to be over. Tony Khan, we need to have a meeting. Like this is not, we just had a meeting last week. It hasn't even been a week since that. We said we don't want to leak things out, and this guy literally just went out there and leaked every fucking thing.
That's why I said you're right. And there's gonna be plenty of times you're gonna have to pull me the fuck back because I'm not an EVP. I'm a man, nigga. I'm a fucking man. You dig? So when you disrespect me, I'm addressing that, not as my fucking title, nigga, as the title of a man. You can't come and lambast me for 30 fucking minutes, talk big, heavy shit, and say, when I'm done with this, if you got something to say to me, you know where to find me. You goddamn right. I put the sticker on the fucking door, nigga. I'll be right there. What are you talking about?
I hear you, man. I hear you. But as EVP, if you were just like, if this was like he called out Hangman and Hangman pulled up on him, I'd be like, yeah, man. As a man, he could pull up on him. But I think that you are blurring the lines too much as EVP when you got to get into the weeds this much. An EVP of a company should not be getting into a brawl, a fight, an altercation like this. No way in hell should that go down. You got to rise above it. I think both CM Punk and the Young Bucks should have rose above in moments to be a leader. CM Punk as a veteran and as now AEW champion, it's not your place to go ahead and lambaste like major stars on the roster. You're doing the exact same thing you're called them out for. You got to rise above that, man. You got to be able to be like, all right, cool. People are talking about me as a leader. People are going to talk about you, period. Like if you want to be a leader of a locker room, it's an action. It's not saying
But people don't talk about Brian like that though. People don't talk about Chris Jericho like that though. People don't talk about real leaders, not niggas that fucking say that. That's the thing. Like, I'm not following the nigga that say shit. What are your actions? Your content of your character. We're going. Maybe that might need to be the episode of the show, nigga. The content of personality, my nigga. Like, you got to understand, Jericho, Punk, and Danielson are the three fucking leaders, like the three elder statesmen who've been all around the world, who've done everything, who can and it's only one nigga with the one reputation that's getting they fucking shit caved in because he can't stay out of it. That's that. I don't think that's by accident. I don't
think it is either. All I'm saying is a lot of people are talking and a lot of people are picking sides and all this shit, and you don't fucking know. You don't know what happened prior to that Hangman promo. And for Hangman to go out there and say workers' rights and all that, that perked up everybody's ears, including CM Punk's like, what the fuck are you saying? Like, and do I think that's going into business for yourself? No, I know everybody else did, but me personally, I thought that no, he's going out there cutting a promo, and he found something to say, and he might feel it might blur the lines because he really feels that way. But I think what CM Punk did was like, I'm defending myself at all costs, and that was a active going to business for yourself. And, it was kind of crazy to me, but I also, it's CM Punk. So I at the end of the day, I do think that he came to AEW with positive intentions, but I do think that when you're in a company where even the talent that you're working with is now kind of your bosses as well, EVPs, but you don't get along with them, it's a cocktail for shit to go left. Even if CM Punk never came to AEW, I do think that the Young Bucks would have had problems with somebody eventually, and Kenny Omega, absolutely, because it was Kenny first. I mean, not Kenny, Cody first, and Cody said, fuck y'all, I'm out. So Cody.
It was Cody first because of the Punk bringing in, right? The savior of, like you said, okay, like you just mentioned it. You said CM Punk. And you said CM Punk was a catalyst of AEW's year. I'm not going to fight you back on that because we go into long forms about that's what we do. But I'm not going to disagree and say Punk and MJF was not feud of the year. Did that carry AEW?
I do. I think for a time, yeah, I did.
Okay,
I think for that time, I think that there Hangman Page on top of that were those two angles. Everything that Hangman Page was doing, that whether it was with Lance Archer, it was the matches for him. It wasn't really the angles with Hangman. It was the actual matches, Adam Cole, all that stuff. But CM Punk and MJF was a reason people were tuning into Dynamite for like 2 months straight. So
let's just say a third of the year.
Okay,
we're in September, right? We're in September. 9 months. CM Punk was hurt for 3 months, and he fucking led a feud for 3 months. What'd he do for the other 3 months? I'm just breaking it down.
No, listen, I'm not trying to say that CM Punk is the best person in AEW.
I'm leading somewhere. Somewhere.
Yeah, he was injured for 3 months. Go ahead.
So what I'm saying is the bravado of who you are when you haven't really brought, nigga, you're part of the reason half of your feud hasn't been on TV during your run as champion, because you came in top of the card, top of the billing, top of the fucking price point, and you're top of the billing when niggas ain't coming for Punk. Niggas is coming for MJF. We coming for MJF promos, nigga. Let's be honest. We not coming for Punk pro. We coming for MJF promos, nigga. MJF was the A side to that feud. CM Punk was the A name, nigga. But
A side, B side, I'm not going to argue either one of that. All I'm going to say is that CM Punk That angle doesn't happen without CM Punk, and I think that's a huge part of his contribution to AEW thus far. And to have one of the best feuds of the year, whether you say, "Hey, it's MJF," great.
Yeah,
It wasn't with anybody else but CM Punk.
Literally had the same feud with Cody and Jericho, bro. He did.
It wasn't feud of the year. It was him and CM Punk that made it feud of the year, in my opinion. So at the end of the day, I'm not here to shit on CM Punk's contribution at all, and that's what I'm trying to get at. It's like, I'm not saying that CM Punk is perfect or that he's a good guy or you guys need to leave him alone. No, CM Punk deserves a lot of blame for what's going on this week. He does. As a guy who wants to be seen as a leader and all this stuff, you can't do what you just did. And I think it's kind of disgusting what he did with Colt Cabana. Even worse, I think that was like, yo, dude, I get it. You're hurt by what's going on. There's no way you should be talking about anybody's mother and bringing them up in a press conference. I get it. You're irritated that somebody brought him up and you're like, why am I talking about this guy again? You just got to leave it at that. Listen, I don't want to talk about Colt Cabana. Leave it at that and let it ride. But you took that. You went on and on about it. When Tony Khan was about to talk, you cut him off and went even deeper into Colt Cabana and your issues with him. I get it. There's a lot of pain there. That's all I saw was there's pain there with Colt Cabana. There's pain with WWE. I don't see him saying like just blankets truths about and being detached from the circumstances that he went through when he talks about WWE or when he talks about Colt Cabana. All I see is like a guy who's hurt, and he needs to figure that out. That's a CM Punk thing. You can't use that as a trigger to then say, you know what? I'm going to bleed upon everybody. Like a lot of people have wounds, but what people like to do is they like to peel their wounds off and bleed on everybody and say, you know what? I'm the victim in this situation. And I think that CM Punk does that sometimes. And I think that he likes to play that he's the victim when he's just as culpable sometimes in the deterioration of a relationship.
That's the ethos of him. That's not some of the time.
I can't say that. No, I don't think that's fair. I don't think it's fair to call somebody saying that that's the ethos of them. Just because somebody has a character flaw or just somebody has something that may have a tick or a trauma doesn't mean that's who they are. I've heard there's many stories about CM Punk being a great guy with so many people in the industry. And just because he's had moments like this doesn't mean that's all he is. And I think that's kind of
I can't. I'm sorry, I can't name a time.
Then maybe you don't know them. I listen to other podcasts and other podcasts, people who have met him and all that stuff, and people he's worked with. Obviously FTR has a great relationship with him. It's not like you can just put people in a box like, oh, this is he's just a bad guy. Like no, he at the end of the day he's a guy with feelings, and when people have feelings, sometimes it spills. And if they're that deep of a wound, they're going to be very angry and very nasty sometimes when they talk about it, And I'm not saying it's right. I'm just saying it's the reality of who Punk is, and I hope that one day he cannot be so triggered to do these things, because whenever he gets on a mic, although I love the way he talks about things and explains things so casually while eating a muffin or something or cake, I think it's entertaining, but I do think that he harmed the company. And if you put the business first, that's not what you should do as a leader. And that's where I think he was wrong. There's a way to communicate that way without harming the company and then calling people out and then almost calling them to a fight, which ended up happening, which is unfortunate because I don't want that to happen. I want anybody to get hurt.
We're grown men, brother. Like you said, you fought your brother, right? And you fought your brother because, hey, man, you're a little bit too much talking. You did, like it's that's true. That's true, nigga. Listen, you got emotions. You got.
This is why I understand the guy. This is why I can understand CM Punk on when you have somebody who like a brother to you, and somebody you're like, listen, I just won an AEW championship. And the first question you get is about some nigga you don't want to fucking talk about. Like, all right, you guys asked for it. Fuck it. Like you want to hear the truth. This is what I fucking feel. But I understand it. Although I do think that we got to control our emotions, man. Like we just do. We just got to control our emotions more. And he just let it all out. He didn't give a fuck.
Now, move forward with the business and logic with this. There was no logic. Right?
But there can be some business. Like I said before, and like I said to you on the phone earlier today, controversy can create cash. Shout out to Eric Bischoff. He coined that phrase. But I do think this is like I like when things like this happen only because it creates an opportunity for you to see who is really what. Like, who are you guys, AEW? Who is the company? Who is Tony Khan? Who is John Moxley? Who is, MJF? The guys who are there who went on the show the next night and kind of like got us right back into things, and I think that they did a great job of rebounding from all the drama of the weekend. Let's just go right into it. So they obviously we talked about they vacated the AEW championship. They vacated the trios championship, and now we're going to be seeing a tournament for the AEW championship. It's called the Grand Slam Tournament of Champions to crown the new world champion. I think Moxley and Jericho get a bye because they are the older statesmen, I guess. And Hangman versus Bryan Danielson happened on Dynamite, and then we also had we only had that matchup from the tournament, but Danielson won, so Danielson will be facing Chris Jericho in a rematch. And then on Rampage tomorrow, we got Sammy Guevara versus Darby Allin, which they always link up and have a great match. And the winner will be facing John Moxley, and the winner of those two matches will then face at AEW Grand Slam in New York, I believe, on September 21st. Okay, all right, yeah. So we get a new crown champion for your birthday. So yeah, it looks like they're rebounding great. That's just one thing of the night that I thought was a great pivot. At the end of the day, when you have a brawl, like backstage, and you have to suspend some of your biggest stars, and you actually do it, you got to find some people to take the place, and fill in. And they did. They chose the right guys. I think that Moxley was scheduled to be in a I don't know, vacation, but he came in, and MJF came back, and they cut two of the best promos to get me right back into AEW and interested in what's happened next. It definitely sold the tournament for me. It definitely sold what can happen after the tournament with MJF having the chip. But man, AEW has some heavy hitters, man, and that's what I take away from this. Like, they can pivot this into a whole new run with AEW of great matches, great storylines, great angles, as long as they handle it properly with the business side of things. And I think they will.
I think, well, that's what I'm saying. It's a crutch, right? These tournaments are crutches. The last tournament, I feel like it just makes it obsolete. You know what I'm saying? Like, Moxley being champion or interim champion does nothing for the championship, right? Him then unifying the championships in Chicago and in Ohio does nothing for the championship. Punk winning the championship in Chicago does nothing for the championship. This championship has not mattered since Adam Hangman Page had it.
Listen. I don't. I mean, I think some people can say that. Me personally, I think John Moxley had a good run with it as interim champion, and that's the only reason why you say that is because the word interim is on that. At the end of the day, guys, I don't know why I kind of don't give a fuck what you call interim or not. Right now, Toni Storm is AEW Women's Champion. Right now, we are vacated, the AEW Championship. But when it was interim with John Moxley, he was a champion for me. Like, he was the guy who's coming every single week with the championship belt and having matches, and he was a guy to beat. Whether CM Punk was there or not. Obviously, all it does is set up a match down the line where you can have champion versus champion, which I actually think is a smart way of booking. If somebody has an injury, we don't just discount them and say you got to vacate the championship. You say, no, you're still champion. We're going to have an interim champion. And when you get back from your injury, you guys are going to have a match, whoever has the championship at the time. Now, will that change the credibility of how the championship? To some people may, but me, it doesn't. To me, yeah, has AEW had a tough couple of months? Absolutely. Injuries will do that. But this tournament, man, it's going to be great matches at the end of the day. That's what I care about. And we have MJF with the chip to say whoever has the belt at the end MJF is right around the corner saying, I am owed a championship match whenever I want. So to me, it's not a crutch. It's just the next way, way we're gonna go with things with AEW. It's just a pivot. It's just
Well,
how you're lining up the storyline for the future. You know,
the reason why I say it's a crutch is how many we just had All Atlantic tournament. We just had the trios tournament. We just had the interim champion tournament, and now we're having this like we had an interim tournament that Moxley won, and now we having another tournament that I'm assuming that Moxley won't. And so that's why it's the crutch. Because at the end of the day, where is the ladder match for the championship? Where is the battle royal for the championship? Where is
I wouldn't want that.
There is, huh?
I would not want like a battle royal for the championship. I think WWE has a good way of doing that, where they can just say, "Hey, whoever throws the last person out is the champion." Now, I think Jack Swagger or Great Khali want to top that with.
They did that once with Roman as the one and all at the Royal Rumble, but I don't think they really do that often. That's not really done often, where the winner of the Royal Rumble is actually champion. That hasn't.
No, not the Royal Rumble. They did a battle royal on SmackDown where either it was Jack Swagger or Great Khali, how they won the title. I forget which one. It might have been both, but they've done it before. Where they won the world championship through a battle royal. I'm like, that's whack to me. So I think that the tournament has been a crutch for them. I hear what you mean. The tournament style of booking, yeah, it is, but it's not a bad way to go about it. You have a bunch of people who are qualified champions who says, hey, you know what? We're going to do a bracket system. Whoever comes through, it's not like just saying, hey, we're going to have one match. You guys are good. We're just going to get a new champion. You guys have a storyline to get there now. And then I think that adds prestige to when the person wins it, they went through something.
I would have loved that. I would have loved the last two champions of Moxley and Page just being named as the challengers. I would have the two niggas that Punk had an issue with as the last two champions, they just go at it. I don't need Danielson. Danielson never been a fucking champion at AEW. How is he in the fucking tournament? Darby Allin and Sammy Guevara as world champion? Are you fucking kidding me? Like, none of this shit matters. This is what I'm saying.
Man, you're very critical, man. Like, here's what I'm gonna tell you. Right. I think that
I just can't feel what I feel. I'm sorry.
I know. I hear no. You can feel what you feel, but I mean, when I saw this, Darby and Sammy being elevated from being former TNT champions to being, hey, we're pushing you and giving you a shot and giving you a spot in the main event picture is a great move for them. It's not like they're going to win the damn thing, but it's like, yo, whoever's going to win that match is facing Moxley, and that should be a great match. Moxley versus Darby, Moxley versus Sammy, and then, Moxley goes on to the finals. So I think that it just adds a level of, dark horse to this tournament. To me, I think these two guys are the future of the company. So yeah, they should be put and given an opportunity to be seen as a main event. Not that they're going to win it, but to just be seen in the ring with other main eventers.
No, listen, I'm okay. I'm talking. You said AEW has a stacked ass roster to be world champion. When you look at those names of Mox, Page, Danielson, Jericho, and then we get to Guevara and Darby, right? Like, where is a Miro, a Wardlow? You know what I'm saying? Like, where is a Hobbs? You want to talk about giving somebody a fucking like Sammy Guevara has had plenty of chances to get the fuck over. Ladder matches put us up through for like the him and Ty Conti, Darby Allin doing these coffin matches and death match. Like, these niggas got plenty of times to get the fuck over, nigga.
I hear you.
We talking about Miro not having a chance.
I hear you, and you have a complete point. They should have given Chris Jericho, Hobbs, and Moxley, Miro, or something like that. I'm with it because I do think that they branded it as a Grand Slam tournament. They made it this so you had to be a former champion in some facet. Obviously, Brand Danielson is a 6-time world champion, not in AEW, but they just added any championships you won as a world champion, you could be the tournament. You've been a TNT champion, but guys like Miro, he could have added him. Unfortunately, we haven't had a match with our boy hasn't had a championship yet. What's his name? Hobbs hasn't had a championship yet. So that's what they're branding it as. Oh, if you've won championships, we are putting you in this tournament. Now, is that marketing and the ploy? Yes, absolutely. Do I want to see Hobbs get a chance? Absolutely. Maybe they have other plans with him. Maybe you have other plans with Miro. I don't know. But I'm not going to shit on this pivot because after the weekend they had, I was interested in the tournament. I was like, oh, okay, cool. Me personally, I'm not saying that everybody will be. I was like, okay, cool. I love the Hangman Page and Danielson match. They always have good matches. Mind you, the whole show was good. Let's get into it a little bit. First and foremost, because we got a lot to talk about, let's get through it. We have a new trios championship. That we had Death Triangle defeat the Best Friends to become the new trios championship. First
Shout
match
out
of the
to
night.
Tupac.
Tupac. Yeah, shout out to Tupac. I believe that we got right off the bat one of the best matches of the night immediately, and I'm glad that Pac is being recognized, and obviously our boys Penta and Phoenix. We love those guys. So I think that when it comes to the choice to put the title on them, it was the right choice. Only other choice I would have said was Dark Order, but I think they got some injuries. Hangman and Dark Order from their past match, but obviously they put Hangman in the tournament, so this is the next best thing to me. Obviously, there's a lot of other trios in AEW that we can choose and see where it goes from here. But to take the titles off of your EVPs and Kenny Omega and Young Bucks and immediately put it on Death Triangle, good choice. Let's forget about what happened. Let's just move on. But we'll see how things go when they return. Obviously, there is a built-in storyline right there, and obviously a built-in match that could be great. We already know how the Young Bucks and Phoenix and Penta link up, and then Kenny and Pac and how they link up. So, it's gonna be crazy when they return. What else? We got Tony time. Now, she won the women's championship in AEW. There wasn't a huge like angle with her, but I do believe that the future of this division is in Tony's hands right now. And
if you want, put Tony first in the 3 bracket where I see you. put Tony first. Put Tony first, and then you do the 3. And then there you go.
There you go. But shout out to Tony. Congratulations to Tony Storm. I think she's a mainstay in AEW. Honestly, I don't think she needs to go back to WWE. Stick at AEW. Keep getting better. Keep doing your thing. I think that this is one of her biggest wins of her career. So congratulations. And I'm curious to see where she goes with this. Honestly, there's a built a story with her and Thunder Rosa, obviously as interim champion, women's champion. When Thunder Rosa comes back, all that thunderstorm shit. All right, that was all cute. But now we got to get down and dirty, and sandbagging might happen. So let's go.
Speaking of Thunder Rosa, her ass didn't want to do jobs either. Her ass was motherfucking.
All these are rumors, and I get you. They're probably people see themselves as like no, I deserve more. And in a company like AEW, it's not like Vince, where it's like Vince is like, okay, so what? Go out there and do what I told you to do. Tony Khan's like, yeah, okay, yeah, and he's like a yes man. He's like a guy who you can get over on.
No, this is Tony. Yeah, man. Yeah.
Yo, don't do that, man. Don't do that to that guy. We don't know nothing about him. But they capped off the night, with one of the best matches of the week, honestly, and Yuta and Daniel Garcia in Buffalo, man. And to have the show after, All Out in Chicago, go to Buffalo, and we had our guy West Side Gun, show like, what it is.
My nigga West. Oh, you knocked me out. I'm here. You know what I'm saying? My nigga West. You know what I'm saying? My nigga West, we motherfucking we motherfucking killed that shit in Buffalo, nigga. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm rocking that motherfucking Isaac Paleo. I'm motherfucking pray for, who made the sunshine right now. You know what I'm saying? But I wish I was in Buffalo for that show, man. That shit looked flame. That shit
It was
looked
crazy.
fire, my nigga. Like
He bought out the first 2 rows. He had all his guys there, all his family and friends. Like, and
wearing the alley, the bunny motherfucker. Like that shit was fire.
AAO West puts on for AEW, and I'm happy for him because the love that WWE should have been showing him, he's getting it here, and he's a guy who should be on TV, like and a guy who's honestly a part of the culture in such a big way, who's constantly in the front row, supporting you guys, putting money and tickets and your money in your hands, and he's just a huge part of the culture, and to introduce Daniel Garcia, another Buffalo kid, to the main event of the show, in a match where he's becoming the pure champion and winning his first title in AEW or ROH technically. It was a moment. It was definitely a moment for Buffalo. I know you were happy and charged up. I know that I wish I could have been there too, man. I could be an honorary Buffalo kid, But shout out to Buffalo.
That shit was so. Listen, okay. Niggas know, right? Who we are, what we do, we geek out or shit like that. But like, you don't really understand the nature of it, right? So, shout out to Action Bronson, who was at All Out, right? All Out, he came out and brought out Hook. He did Hook rap. So Action Bronson and Westside did a mixtape, I think back in like 2013, 14, 15, one of those 3 years, called The Dudley Boys.
Oh, that's
right.
Awesome.
I was back in the day, hustling, jigging, shit like that. Homie of mine was chopping it up, and as he was dropping me, as he was checking me out, he was just like, "Yo, I know you fuck with wrestling, because I used to be like, yo, I can't talk right now, nigga. I gotta get back on my side, nigga. I'm watching it, you know what I'm saying? So homie knew I fuck with wrestling. He was like, yo, you fuck with wrestling. I never knew Westside Gun. I'm from the town, but I'm not from the town. I grew up in Birmingham. That was where my adolescence and shit. I was down south. So I didn't grow up in Buffalo during that time. But homie K was like, yo, you fuck with wrestling. It's this nigga from the town. He just did some Action. And now Action is, that nigga. And so I'm like, oh, nigga from the town did something with Action. Niggas right now, like, oh, you did something with West? Like,
yeah,
West
exactly. It's helpful.
West is that fucking nigga, bro. Like, so from the Dudley Boys mixtape with motherfucking Action, so to Summer 88 that he dropped, motherfucker, to now every wrestling, you know what I'm saying, theme song that he put out is fire. The nigga is, like you say, for the wrestling culture. Now I hear what you say, WWE, AEW, this is different. This is why this alternative is special. This is why AEW is important. You know what I'm saying? This is why AEW is a necessity. But also, it took them a minute to come around. You know what I'm saying?
It did. But we're here now. We're here now, and I'm not gonna I'm just happy, because this is their first show in Buffalo, right?
Very first show
in Buffalo. If there's a time to do it, it's now.
It's the only time.
It's the only time to do it, and
this is why we say timing matters for everything.
It does.
Bro.
Timing does matter for everything.
For everything, man.
So, once he comes out there, Westside comes out and he introduces Daniel Garcia. He's rapping it. I'm like, yo, it's not easy to rap on beat in front of everybody, and I don't know what they did in pre-production.
Hold on. Flawless. I want to pause you on that. This nigga rapped Dr. Birds on national television like he was on Jimmy Fallon, not like he already did it on Jimmy Fallon. You see what I'm saying? My nigga talking about brick on my brick on national TV, man.
National TV, dog. It was a moment, man, and I'm happy for Buffalo. And after that intro, there's no way Daniel Garcia couldn't win that match. There's no way in his own hometown. Ain't no way. But yeah, he turned it up. He turned it up. So, and it sent everybody home happy. Like, even us at home, were happy watching it. Like, oh shit, that was lit. Like if it wasn't for me watching my nephew, we would have done the pod right away. Like, yo, did you see that? Like,
Nigga, bruh,
yeah,
I was juiced. I hit you in the group chat like,
yeah,
oh.
yeah. But shout out to Wes, man. Look forward to seeing you again at WrestleMania, or whenever we see you again, probably even sooner. Who knows? But it was great to see him out there doing his thing, and we support him and we support Daniel Garcia. Congratulations on your Pure Championship win. Moving,
absolutely. Moving on from AEW.
let's
I do want to say this one time. AEW, please have more than one women's match. And if we're going to be on TBS, please let me see the TBS champion, please. Do you know who the TBS champion is, Tony Khan? It's the most beautiful bitch that God ever motherfucking created since my wife. You know what I'm saying? I gotta throw that in there. Nigga, you better put Jade on fucking TV. Nigga, what is wrong with you?
Yes, indeed. We'll probably wait.
With you, nigga?
Is Jay gonna be on? She be on Rampage, right?
No, TBS is on. Dynamite is on TBS. Rampage on TNT.
I thought that was the other way around.
Is it?
Yeah, the TNT Championship came out first, and they were on Dynamite. So TBS, yeah.
Okay, all right. So I'm mistaken. Yeah. Fuck it, nigga.
Don't worry. We gonna get Jay. We gonna get Jay. Don't worry about it. But yeah, shout out to Jade and Athena, man. I liked their match a lot. Like a lot of people were talking about it, like it wasn't. I liked it. I think it was hard hitting. It was not long, but I think that Jade is improving. Honestly, I really do. And she came out as She-Hulk. I'm loving the cosplay she does. Obviously, she looks like a superhero, like already, so it works for her. But she was victorious again. If you didn't see it, we talked about it on our last pod. So go check it out. The review.
We did live.
We did live. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Another live. Now moving on, AEW does a lot. Every week you give us some shit to talk about, some crazy shit. But let's move forward to NXT and their weekend. And what stuck out to me and what brings me to the show right now is this feud right now, and that is Ricochet versus Carmelo. This is the best Ricochet has looked since he left NXT. Honestly, since he left NXT.
This nigga said he looked the best since he left NXT. Like, damn, nigga.
I think that Carmelo and Ricochet is a match made in heaven. And their match at When Worlds Collide, fire. They need to do it again. They need to run it back. I can't wait to see it. And I think that what's funny? I've been talking 2 out of 3 falls for years with you. 2 out of 3 falls. I like that stipulation. And they go out and give it to some random dudes in Axiom and Nathan Frazier off of just a whim. Like, this is the perfect match to have a 2 out of 3 falls stipulation. Like, these two guys can go. Not that Axiom and that guy, Nathan Frazier, can't go. I thought Nathan Frazier got fired. And I guess he wasn't.
Clearly not, nigga. It's just that guy, brother. Clearly not.
But I'm like, why are we doing this? Like, what's the point of getting 2 random dudes in a 2 out of 3 falls when you have a clear angle right here going with Ricochet and Carmelo that honestly people are interested in and could really use it. They could use a stipulation like that. But Ricochet right now, he needs to get his victory back. I'm not sure if he should win the championship though, but he needs to get a victory on Carmelo after that.
Nigga, it ain't gotta be for the title. Give me 1 second. It ain't gotta be the title, nigga.
But yeah, right now, Ricochet, I think he fits. I think Ricochet should stay in NXT. If you're asking me, point blank, period, Ricochet should stay in NXT until he has a heel turn, and then he should come back to the main roster. And I've always said this about Ricochet. I think a heel turn for him would be great if he was a guy who just talked his shit and ran around the ring, did a backflip and said, "You can't catch me," and just said the wildest shit to people, like even Braun Strowman, and he just week after week couldn't get a hold of him. But that's neither here nor there. My thing is to talk about Ricochet and Carmelo, Book and Black. this is going down again. It has to. They're already teasing it in NXT. I believe that Carmelo, in the end of it all, should be champion because there's still a lot that I want to see from him moving forward. If he's going around calling himself the A champion, and if we're not going to get Wesley versus Carmelo again, which I don't get why we haven't gotten that. So, I'll leave that there. We got to see A champion versus the NXT champion eventually.
You know what? Let's stay on that real quick. Where the fuck is Wesley at, bro?
Where the fuck is he? Yeah.
Like, bro, I can't hold you. The banger that he just had a really good banger with JD McDonough. You know what I'm saying? Absolutely fire match with JD McDonough, but it didn't mean not a fucking thing.
And then they put JD in the main event again. I don't know what they're doing with that guy. I mean, I don't hate on the guy. I gotta see more from him, but I think that Wesley is kind of being misused at this point. I think he has a lot to offer. Not misused in the state of like he's not gonna get his time. I think he will, but I think it should have already happened already. I really do think that he should have been in title matches already, or at least been teased to be in a title match.
I would say this. I would say this. If you're gonna say Roxy is a baby face that can hold the division together, Wesley is that same baby face, and we can't rush that because, like you say, placement,
timing, placement.
If Ricochet and Carmelo is going to give us these absolutely no place to be at this moment. Talk about having the champion. We can have this conversation, right? We can have this conversation.
Yeah, you're breaking up a little bit.
Oh, Ricochet and Carmelo can have matches, but if they don't have the title, it don't necessarily mean a thing, right? We can't have the 2 out of 3 falls match if it don't have the title.
Absolutely. So, I mean, I was saying this before Ricochet came to NXT, though. Like, it wasn't like I'm saying like now that Ricochet's there, obviously put on the Ricochet Carmelo match. Let's see where it goes. But I do think that if they didn't have When Worlds Collide, that next up was Wesley. I do think that Wesley deserves a push at some point. Yes. Now, how we get there, is it through JD McDonough? I don't know, honestly. But I think that when I think you have Gallus, up there, and you have Tyler Bate and Braun Breaker. I think Wesley should be right there by their side. Like, put him in there, like, just have him side by side with the champion. The guys who, just as a baby face who's having their back. Like, listen, if y'all fighting, I got your back. We're not gonna, fold to
that would be fine. That would be fine.
I would have loved to see that, but then the next thing you know, JD McDonough's coming out and he's attacking Tyler Bate at the end of the match, and he runs off. Like, that right now seems to be like he's getting another shot, or there might be a triple threat going forward. But Wesley should have. I don't want him to get caught up in the fold because he has a lot to offer going forward as a single star. Now we'll see where it goes. So I'm going to be patient. But now that Ricochet's here, he's kind of stealing that thunder with where the North American Championship, kind of the division is, and I think that kind of unfortunately pushed Wesley to the side for a bit. And as long as he's getting his time on screen, I'll be happy because we got to see where he's going. We still got Damian Kemp turned on Diamond Mine. They'll figure it out their thing, but maybe he doesn't join them. Maybe he joins and helps out Diamond Mine and some people. I don't know, but we got to figure something out going on with our boy.
But to get us back on path with Ricochet and Carmelo, I do feel like Carmelo. You said Carmelo needs to challenge Braun Breaker. Can't say he's the A champion. Don't go after the A championship. I think that was the reason why he was calling it the A championship, right? We look at the lineage of the North American title and we was like, that's the IC title. This is the secondary title that is going to be the primary title because whoever holds that title is the primary character, right? This is no longer the quote-unquote showman's title. This is the character's championship, right? So we look at Velveteen, right? We look at Adam Cole. We look at Johnny Gargano. We look at those lineage of characters that held the title and elevated the title. Carmelo Hayes is right up there in that echelon.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
when I look at that title as the title, it is the title. It is the title that is, because you look at it, like the NXT Championship, Goldie was on lock for a year with Tommaso Ciampa. Like, nobody really cared about Tommaso Ciampa and Aleister Black that much. You know what I'm saying? Like, we did until Johnny got hurt, Tommaso got hurt, and we couldn't have the culmination of that feud. Once we couldn't get Johnny Gargano, Tommaso Ciampa for the NXT Championship, and then it went to Adam Cole, that is when the North American Championship was like, okay, what we doing, right? That was elevated. Once that nigga Carmelo unified that in the Cruiserweight Championship and said, I am now, right? Because you said the Cruiserweight title was where all the athletic guys and the show, right? So you got the showmanship of the North American Championship and the athleticism of the Cruiserweight Championship, and Carmelo was like, nigga, I'm the best of both worlds, nigga. I am the champion, nigga. I am the champion. Now we're looking at him like, okay, you can't be the champion unless you have the championship.
Yeah, I think so. I think that eventually, and I for that to be the case, I kind of like the idea of a champion versus champion scenario. But if he dropped it to Ricochet and then went after Braun Breaker and said I will be the A champion, I wouldn't mind that either. But
you gotta drop it to Wesley.
I think he should drop to Wesley. Honestly, I do. I think he should drop it to Wesley. He should have been dropped it to Wesley. Not like, I think that.
No, I can't say.
I think he should have been.
I can't say Ben.
I think we should have been going towards that feud, because they were picking on him and doing all this bullshit, and he had a feud with Trick Williams, and I'm like, all right, this leading to a championship opportunity, right? And it didn't. I think that Wesley still has a case to prove for the North American Championship, and I think he should win it. Honestly, not just because we are, friends with him. I do think that he has that talent. I said this for days, like years ago, that yo, he has it. I think he could be a future NXT champion, mind you. I said that to him. So it's not like I just see him as a one-dimensional dude, So, but when you bring Ricochet down here and you're doing this feud, which everybody's interested in, and they had a great match. All right, where do we go from here now? It's a matter of, all right, let's milk this for as long as we can. So that unfortunately puts Wesley on the back burner. I just need to keep him relevant right now. I just need to see him in the mix. And even if it's Wesley, Ricochet, and Carmelo, light skin on light skin crime. Let's do it. Let's go put all of them in the ring together and let's see what happens.
Just a whole bunch of light skin action, my man. Now I will say this though. What will make it a little bit more interesting for this is that if Wesley comes and interrupts a Ricochet or a Carmelo feud or promo and say exactly what you said and say, hey, I think that I'm rightful to the next shot. Like, Ricochet, you lost your spot. Then we have a Ricochet and Wesley feud. Ricochet and Wesley have a number one contenders match. Like, I think and then Trick Williams comes in and like, look, my nigga Carmelo don't want to fuck with none of y'all niggas. You know what I'm saying? And that's how we get the triple threat. Therefore, Rico and Carmelo don't have to lose clean, whatever the case may be. Wesley, like, I think that might be the best bet for Carmelo to drop the title and move on.
Well, they're going to be doing a poll. I'm not sure where it's going to be to see Carmelo's next challenger. Ricochet clearly is going to win it because Ricochet has more. He's been on the main roster, so obviously it's just made for him to win it. But if Wesley is in that poll, I'm voting for Wesley. I don't give a fuck. So we'll see how it goes down. But we'll see how. I think the NXT is doing great with North American Championship division right now, and Carmelo has been one of the best champions of the whole entire year. So shout out to Carmelo for holding the NXT North American Champion like a true G, like a true champion, and keeping the NXT 2.0 relevant all this time. So keep it up, bro. Keep it up. But speaking of the Intercontinental Championship, because you did mention that a second ago, I need to go over to what we saw this weekend on Cardiff, Clash at the Castle. And a lot of people have been talking about this match, Gunther versus Sheamus. Was it a match of the year candidate? You tell me, was it a match or no? If so, tell me why.
I mean, I'm just gonna simply say, yeah, it was match of the year candidate, just for the simple fact that, I mean, like, listen, we knew it was Sheamus and Gunther from the beginning, and was like, it's gonna be what it is, man. Like, but to have them actually go and then perform it, right? Gunther off top was just like, I gotta let me go in. Right, I'm back in the UK. None of this American soft shit. None of this motherfucking Americanized shit. Like, no, nigga, I eat beans over here, nigga. We get active. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, he went and let niggas know my name may be Gunther, but you know me as Walter. So let me reintroduce myself. And with that being said, Sheamus was the best opponent for that, because Sheamus is a nigga that can, what your grandma used to say, my grandma used to say, take a licking and keep on ticking, nigga. He is the antithesis of that, nigga. He took a licking and was ticking like rolling, man.
Listen, I feel you, man. And you know, it's funny. We just talked about Ricochet and Carmelo running it back. This is another one where I want to see it running back. Is this match in your candidate? Absolutely, because I think for the reasons of the timing, the place that it was, the moment of it being in Cardiff, and then the physicality of it, it was a British match. Like it wasn't like a WWE style match. It was like a British style, strong style match. And they went out there and beat the shit out of each other. You saw the bruises, you saw the welts. And Gunther pulled out the victory like a G, and I loved it. And to see Sheamus lose to Gunther that way, I was like, man, Sheamus is
Yo, that nigga Gunther got unlimited finishers too, my nigga. Like, he can finish with a signature, he can finish you with a finisher. He finished that nigga with a lariat, nigga.
Lariat,
like,
yeah,
just
lariat,
a short arm
no
lariat.
power bomb, no chop. It was just a lariat, hit him with that real quick and pinned him. Like I was like, okay, I think this is another match where you like, I want to see it again, because now there's a story to tell. I think that before it was like, oh, Sheamus is getting a championship match. Okay, why? Okay, and it's like, all right, it's gonna be a good match. Who cares? It's gonna be a good match. Now it's like, oh, he has to prove something.
He won a tournament,
huh?
No,
yeah, that's what I'm saying. He won a tournament, and I think that there was no. He didn't win a tournament. Actually, he won like, was it a fatal 4-way or a 6-man, like something like that?
5-way.
5-way, yeah. All right, so he won that match, and then I remember you mentioning like, oh, why did Sheamus win it? And I'm like, who cares? It's gonna be a good match, And I'm like, now we got the match. It was great. You warmed up to it by the time the show came, and I think everybody got what they paid for. Honestly, now there's something to prove for Sheamus. Now there's a storyline behind it. Now Sheamus can even be a babyface going into this next match, and this can mean that with the story added upon it, and moving towards Extreme Rules, and if you give him time, and that's why I like Triple H, man. And I get it. NXT booking is not for everybody, but giving every match time and saying we're gonna have less matches for me is awesome, because every match hit. Oh my God, every match hit at Clash of the Castle, man. Every single match hit, and this one hit the hardest. So props to Sheamus, props to Gunther. I believe that going forward, if they have another match, it could be better than this match even. So I hope we get it down the line.
Yeah, I think for every bit of what you talked about is that why it was match of the year. I think this can with Imperium and the battling Brutes, this can actually fuck around.
Yes.
Feud of the year leading into the last quarter, making the Intercontinental Championship matter and mean more over that course of time. So I'm
absolutely
just forward.
I'm super excited. This was the right decision, honestly. Sheamus and Gunther in Cardiff, like in the UK, after not being there for 30 years, this was what people came to see, and they got what they paid for. So shout out to them. I can't wait to see more of this. And Sheamus still has yet to achieve the Grand Slam of getting an Intercontinental Championship, so he's still got something to prove, and I can't wait to see what happens next. So moving along, we talked about Clash of the Castle. the finish at the end of the night. The main event was Roman versus Drew, and Roman came out top because due to another member of the Bloodline showing his face and still in the show. Well, not necessarily still in the show, but definitely being the talk of the town after the show. Solo Sikoa, he has now joined the Bloodline.
I can't wait. I can't wait till. I can't wait till tomorrow. Right.
I can't wait.
It's already today. But,
yeah, I know, right? It's already Friday. But yeah, tomorrow or today, 8:00 p.m. Friday Night SmackDown. Solo Sikoa should be there live. They advertised it. They also advertised Braun being there tomorrow. But I'm really interested in seeing the interactions between Solo and Sammy. Like I love Sami Zayn. Like, and this is one thing I want to say about Sammy before. I might have said it before already, but every pod I gotta give this guy his props. Sami Zayn, no matter what he's been doing over the past year, since the pandemic and he came back, he's been consistently having one of the best storylines, whether it's him being conspiracy theorist, whether it's him, trying to get his championship back, Intercontinental Championship, being screwed out of it. And then trying to get into the bloodline, and now he's in the bloodline. Now Solo comes back. It's like all like been a thread that has been congruent, synchronistic, and made sense. No matter what Sammy's done, he's made it work. Whether it's Jackass, and what they did at WrestleMania, like the guy's a freaking gem. So I do believe that in the long run, he can be a huge babyface. And believe it or not, if they play the storyline the right way, he is a contender to win the Royal Rumble and defeat Roman. I don't think it's likely, but if you play the storyline the right way, you can definitely build that angle. And that would be a huge moment if he defeated Roman at WrestleMania. Sami Zayn getting his first championship over Roman would be crazy. Or getting even if he just had a match with him at Fastlane or Royal Rumble for the championship and wasn't winning, it would be a huge moment for Sami to get that moment with Roman one-on-one in the ring at a pay-per-view. But Solo Sikoa now is back. Him and Sami are the third and fourth member of the bloodline, and I cannot wait for the comedy that's going to come from there or the animosity. We'll see.
Well, I mean, listen, nigga, it's definitely going to be animosity, my nigga, because first and foremost, Solo Sikoa is the legit brothers of the Usos, right? So he's the legit younger brother of the Usos. They love nigga. Yeah. So I mean, it ain't like that's another cut. That's Roman's other cousin. But nigga, you got three brothers, and eventually Jimmy ain't gonna be doing the motherfucking handshake with you. Okay, yeah. In a minute, it ain't gonna be. They gonna be upside your motherfucking head, nigga. So I think what you need to be focused on is how Solo and Jay kind of get Jimmy to cross over to the dark side. I think because right now Jimmy is being like, yo, man, like you saying, Jimmy is business. Jimmy like, yo, this nigga take Claymores for a dog.
I don't want to take that shit. Let him take it.
That's a boot I ain't gotta eat. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, you know what I'm saying? I do think that between Kevin trying to pull Sami back, Sami finding himself knowing that he's in a quote unquote abusive or manipulative situation, and the dynamic of the bloodline looking at Jimmy and be like, that ain't your man, is it? And Jimmy like, nah, nigga, I ain't really much. I'm just being cordial. And the bloodline's like, ain't no need to be cordial with a nigga that ain't got this. You know what I'm saying? I can see that unwinding, So I think with all that being said, Solo being introduced officially, all it takes is for tomorrow. All it takes is for tomorrow, like you say, to kind of get the ball rolling. Because I think ultimately, Solo and Sami is gonna be the introduction Solo needs. Or
Absolutely.
hold on. Solo and Kevin, the prize fighter versus the street fighter. And I think that shit gonna motherfucking bang on the set, man.
Let's save that until there's a title at stake because I want to see that with a title on the line, and let the
Really?
prize fighter let the prize fighter get a title first. Let him get a United States Championship, IC Championship, and defend it against Solo at a big pay per view. But or like we've been talking about Kevin and Sammy versus the Usos at WrestleMania for the tag championships, and Solo's in the corner of the
Oh,
Usos.
that shit ain't gonna
And that's
last WrestleMania, nigga. This shit might just happen at Royal Rumble.
you
Like
never,
this
yeah, you're right. It can happen at
might
any
happen
moment.
at Royal Rumble, dog.
It's just like a powder keg waiting to happen. Where I think where this goes from here is the bloodline, including Sammy. They surround the king or the head of the table, the chief, as a fortress to get to the champion. And we got a freight train coming down to SmackDown right now, and that's Braun Strowman versus Roman. Whenever they have linked up, they've had great matches together. Braun has been gone for almost a year now, and he's back now. So this is the only way I see this panning out. Drew still has carrying cross to go through, so we got that in the works for him. But I think Braun is next up to be the champ, to be not be champion or to go after the champ. In the meantime, we got Solo and the Usos and Sammy to go through for Braun to get to Roman though. So that's what my prediction is going to SmackDown, and his staking his claim on being the undisputed Universal Champion. He never got his rematch, so we'll see. We'll see what happens going forward. But I'm interested to see SmackDown, man. Honestly, it's been a great week of wrestling, man. Awesome. Like even with the drama, especially because of the drama, there's so much conversation, so much content being created, so much fucking trash talking on Twitter. Shit. I made one comment last week and I got trash talk. Oh, we didn't even make a comment. We just asked a question about carrying cross, and we got mad shit, mad hate from people on Twitter. But anyways, fuck it. I love the discussion. I embrace it. I was pissed about it initially a little bit because niggas are stupid and they don't actually listen to reason. They don't listen to the podcast, and they can't even act. They can't. You can't even ask a question on Twitter without people calling you crazy. But it's all good. Wrestling is subjective. I embraced the conversation, and whether you were for
I
CM,
mean, we didn't do nothing wrong. We listen. I really didn't ask is CM Punk the old Karrion Cross nigga, because essentially everybody drops bars on that nigga. Right? We was talking about Karrion Cross, how he got ate up by Johnny Gargano and Adam Cole, and niggas was talking about you and the bitch and the smoke, and you can't lace my boot. That nigga CM Punk been getting called a bitch ass nigga since he was in WWE, nigga. John Cena, Triple H, Vince McMahon, all called that nigga a pussy to his face. And then motherfucker, he come to AEW, John Moxley, Adam Page, all them niggas is like, you a bitch ass nigga. It's CM Punk, the old Karrion Cross. Let's throw that in the motherfucking phone.
you want to get killed again, man? Go for it. Listen, at the end of the day, it's all love. Everything is wrestling. I love the conversation, and whether CM Punk is the old Karrion Cross, or whether he's the new Hulk Hogan, or whether he's Roddy Piper, I don't give a fuck. You can have your opinion. All I'm saying is let's keep talking about it because everybody got an opinion, and since everybody got a podcast and Twitter, might as well throw it out there.
Well, my thing is CM Punk, we ain't gonna be talking about that nigga no more because he got fired.
We don't know that. He got injured, so we don't know if he's fired.
Well, I mean, shit, that's just as good. I mean, hey, CM Punk getting fired, CM Punk getting injured.
Did you say him getting injured is just as good? Oh my gosh, see, this guy he's evil. He's wishing injuries on niggas because he don't like him, man. This guy, nigga, putting curses on niggas like Danhausen.
I'm Chris Housen. I'm Chris Housen, baby.
Very good and very evil. High Housen. Shout out to Dan Housen getting a chain from West Side Gun, man. Shit, we should get a chain from West Side Gun, man.
Crazy, nigga. Yo, nigga, I can't wait for us to get our 4-4 chain, nigga.
Mhm.
Oh man. Anything else? Anything else from the week of wrestling? Crazy ass week of wrestling?
Nah, I think it was a crazy week. We got a lot to go. We got a lot to watch tomorrow and then going forward. But you guys check us out on Patreon. We got more content out there. Well, we will have more content on there.
Absolutely.
Definitely $5 a month. That's Reasonable Wrestling at Patreon. We'll put the link in the description.
We might fuck around and do a
Like,
live show. We might do a show tomorrow.
yeah,
We
maybe, yeah. We'll throw one
might
up there after
tomorrow, bro.
SmackDown or something. I do got, I got the day off, so I might, shoot you a little text, get on here real quick. That's if I don't got a date, but we'll see.
Oh, now
And
that's Patreon talk right there, nigga. You know what I'm saying? You know what? Tune in to the Patreon so we can talk about
listen,
date.
listen. I'm not talking about no dates. I don't kiss and tell. I don't kiss and tell. Well, we'll see. If you guys want to find out
why he don't kiss and tell on Patreon, then that's because
it's okay. It's all right. All is love. Everything is wrestling. He can keep laughing if he wants. Check us out. Like this, subscribe. RW Podcast 1 Twitter, Reasonable Wrestling Podcast on all medias and social. Just search our shit, like our shit, follow our shit. Peace out. All love. Everything is wrestling. EIWshop.com. Deuces.